Hello again, everybody. Hope everybody's doing well. Today's going to be story time. I had made mention of telling some stories of when I was a police officer. The one I'm going to about today is the case that I'm probably the most proud of, that I had a large part in solving, as I found the guy that did it, that ended up later confessing to the crime. It's partially funny story and partially tragic story, but it has a good ending. This is a case of and I don't know if I can even say this without YouTube flagging me, an sexual assault case that we had, which was actually very rare in the town I worked in. It was a smaller town, about 12,000 people. And we just didn't have stuff like this happen. In fact, this is the only instance that I ever remember. There was another one that we had that ended up being a false allegation, but this one actually happened. So it starts out, my partner and I, when I say partner, I don't mean living partner, my police friend partner. He had gone to this novelty store. He'd purchased this big, really realistic looking gorilla mask. And we were off this one night, and he put this gorilla mask on, and we went up. We were both off duty, of course. We went up to, there was what they called the hill, and that's where all the kids would go up on the hill and park in their cars and make out. And so we decided we've been tipping a few, and we decided that we were going to go up and scare the crap out of them with this gorilla mask. So we go up on the hill, and the first car that we come to, there's a couple in there, and Randy, my partner, he's got this gorilla mask on. He gets out of the car and he creeps along the ground. He goes up to the passenger side of the vehicle where the female was, and he comes up in the window, with the gorilla. And this thing was realistic looking. I mean, it was one of those really expensive ones that they had mislabeled, and so he bought it for probably a fraction of the cost that it normally would have cost, but they had to sell it to him for that because that's how they marked it. That was at least the law here, or actually where I was. It was still in Idaho where I am, but it was the other side of the state. But he goes up and and they had their winter. It was like towards. It wasn't really winter, but it was like getting toward the colder part of the year, to where they had their windows rolled up, and he did that, and I could hear her scream, even with the windows down, just like she was sitting next to me. I mean, it was, and the guy that she was with, he just starts cracking up. He's just laughing his butt off. He thought it was so funny. So we were going up there, and we were like scaring the crap out of these kids, having a good time. It was hilarious. Well, then we got this bright idea, and to show you how old I am, we went to the local disco. And this was in a college town, and so we had like all these college kids who were there. That disco was always packed. So we decided to go into the disco, and of course they let us in because what they did is the disco had contracted with the city police department that we would provide the security for them. And so when we went in there to work security there at the disco, we were fully uniformed in our city police uniforms and everything. So we go in there, and of course Randy's got this gorilla mask on, and the guy, I don't remember who it was working the security that night, he sees us come in, and he's just kind of like, oh my god, he knew us. We were kind of rebels, and so we go in there, and he goes in, and he starts dancing with these chicks. And it's just like, it's hilarious. People are just really getting a kick out of it. A couple of the gals, he walked up and poked on the shoulder, asked them if they wanted to dance. They turned around like, screamed, ah, and it was just everybody was getting a real kick out of it. Well, after we got done dancing, we were getting ready to leave, and this one chick comes out of there, and she's just like all over him. She wants to meet him. She goes, "Take your mask off. I want to see what you look like." And he's like, "No." He goes, "Oh, come on. I want to see you." And boy, and she followed us out to the car. She was just like really interested in him. Wanted to see who it was behind the mask. And of course, Randy was a real. I'm not small. I'm about 6'1", 230 pounds. And Randy towered over me and was, real big guy, and so this chick was all over him. The reason I tell this story is that, and I don't remember how much time had passed, maybe a couple of weeks, if that. And this girl that had been after him at the disco was assaulted. She gave us a description. I can't remember if the guy was wearing a mask or not. I think maybe he was. I think he was. It's been so long ago that I can't remember. It's been over 40 years ago, so I can't remember all the details for certain. But she said that he was driving a white pickup with a dark door, like either a primer, it had like primer gray or black on the door. She said it was dark color. She said that the pickup, because apparently he got her in the vehicle and took her somewhere. She said that the vehicle smelled like smoke, and I don't remember what the other things she said, but those were the two main things that stood out to me. It was a white pickup with a darkened driver's side door, and then it smelled like smoke. So I don't remember how much time had passed, but we were looking for this guy. We didn't know if it was a local guy. We didn't know if it was somebody just passing through town. We didn't know if it was somebody at the college. We didn't know what the deal was with it. One night, I was on patrol, and I had one of the supervisors riding with me. And we were going along. We were going up. There's like two main drags coming into town. There's one coming in from the south, and there's one coming in from the north. And we were on the main drag heading north, and I look over and I see this white pickup with a primer door parked at this light. Now at that particular light, there was a school right there on the corner, and there was a sign there that said no right turn on red. Well, the light was red. He was parked there, it was on red. And of course we never enforced it, after, because it was there before the school kids. So in the evening when people turned right, we didn't pay attention to it, because I guess if you were like hurting for a ticket or something, but we generally just let it slide. We didn't worry about it as long as there wasn't anybody in the crosswalk. And so this is about 9-10 o'clock at night. It was dark, and I see this pickup there, and I pull over and get behind him. I'm sitting there like, thinking, wow, do I really have enough probable cause to stop this guy just because he's driving a white pickup with a darkened door? Now, I was going to stop him regardless. I was going to try to find some reason to stop this guy. And so we're sitting there behind him, and of course the light's red. And I'm sitting there going, "Come on, dude, turn. Come on, dude, turn." Hoping high heavens that he would turn and I have a reason to stop him. And all of a sudden, right before the light turned, it was still red, he turned. And I was like, yahoo, here we go. So I turn right, get behind him, I pull him over, and I walk up to the driver's side window, of course. And first thing, he's got a pickup, and he's got those those really wide mirrors that you put on there. That you got the mirror here, then you've got kind of a little tray, almost, that's right below the mirror. And there was a cigarette butt sitting in that tray thing that he apparently tried to flick out the window, hit the mirror, and it landed in that tray. So I noticed that right off the bat, cigarette butt, okay? And this was in a town where it was a lot of religious people. Hardly anybody there smoked. They'd have been, really looked down on it if they did. So hardly anybody there smoked. So I go up and I see this cigarette butt, lying in the tray. White pickup, darkened door, smelled like smoke. Smelled like cigarette smoke. I see the cigarette butt. I walk up and I tell the guy, I said, the reason I pulled you over is because there's a sign there that says no right turn, and you turn on a red light, and you turned on a red light. Now, most people's reaction, you stopped them at 9, 10 o'clock at night when there was no school going, they'd be going ballistic. What do you pull me over for that? I know, from experience, that's, most people's reaction. They'd have been ticked off. Why'd you pull me over for that? So, when I told him that, his reaction was, right there, that told me this is the guy. Because that is not a normal person's reaction. That was a sigh of relief. So what does that tell me? He thought I'd pulled him over because his vehicle matched the description, which it did. And I'm sure that's what he was thinking. But when he did that, I knew right there. I knew it. And so, I asked him for his driver's license and told him I was going to go back, run the license. He'll be right back. It was he had a I don't remember what kind of, if he had Idaho plates on his pickup or out of state, but he had a Montana driver's license. And so I went back and ran him. Of course, he came back, not wanted, valid driver's license, all that stuff. But as soon as I got in the car, I told Dan, the guy that was riding with me, I said, this is the dude. I said, this is the guy. I guarantee you, this is the guy. And I told him about his reaction. He says, I think you're probably right. So I ran him, did all that, wrote down some notes so I wouldn't forget them. Went back up to the pickup, gave him his driver's license. I said, well, your record's clean. You've got a valid license, so I'll give you a warning this time. Oh, thank you. I didn't know that. Well, anyway, so then I started acting like I was his best friend, and I just struck up just a normal conversation. Oh, so you got Montana? Are you a student here? No, I'm just here. I'm here working. They go, oh, where do you work? Found out where he worked. I said, so what made you decide to move here? He goes, well, my sister lives here. I'm living with my sister. And I go, oh, okay, so where does she live? And I didn't ask him for the specific address because that would be too obvious. I said, oh, where she live here? And he says, oh, up on blah, 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 whatever street it was. I said, oh, cool, so we just started talking, and, I said, well, so do you like it here? And da-da-da-da-da, and yeah, and, what's it like in Montana? And just had a normal, chatty, friendly conversation with him, and he just started opening up to me and blabbing. And so here I had his name. Oh, no, I did get his sister's address because I had to get that information for him since his driver's license showed a Montana address. So I got the information. I got where he lived, where he worked, all that. He's living with his sister. So I said, okay, well, I'll give you a warning this time and let him go. And went and got back in the car, and I said, and Dan says, well, you need to write up a report on this. I said, oh, I plan to. I said, I guarantee you this is the guy. This is the guy. My gut tells me this is the guy. Right away, my gut told me he was the guy. So I went back that night and, of course, wrote up a report for the detectives who were investigating the case. Wrote it up. The next day, the sergeant called me in there. I was working the next day as well. I come in, I think I was working 3 to 11, I believe. So when I come in the office, he says, "Hey, come in the office. I want to talk to you." So I went in and talked to him, and I gave him my story. I said, I swear, this is the guy. This is the guy. I said, his reaction was not normal. He was nervous. I said, he later relaxed a little bit when I started talking to him, but he told me, he says, "Man, that's great." He said, "You got all the information that we need to get a hold of this guy, if he's not lying about where he worked." So they went down, I don't know if it was that day or the next day, they went down to where this guy worked, and they pulled him into the station for questioning. They talked to him. Of course, he denied everything, blah, 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 and all that. And the sergeant told him, he says, "Next time you see us, it won't be to question you, it will be to arrest you." So he went back to work, and he didn't take off. He didn't run back to Montana. So I don't know how much more time there was between that interview and when they arrested him, but they did some more investigation, and they ended up going down and arresting the guy at his where he worked. And they brought him back, and they kept questioning him, finally, I don't know exactly what they said to him to get him to confess, but he finally confessed and said he did it. And that was when I come to work that day, and they told me, they said, "Hey, guess what? What? He confessed." Awesome. Awesome. So then we contacted the girl, the victim, and told her, "Hey, you don't have to worry about going to court and testifying. This guy confessed." And of course, she was absolutely overjoyed. And she was a really nice gal too. She was pretty. She was just really, really, really sweet gal. I talked to her when she came into the police department there when we were getting her story and stuff, and she just seemed like a really, really sweet gal. And this guy, what a scumbag. Anybody that does crap like that, they just, times like that, I almost wish we were back in the old West, where we could just take him out and hang him. Immediately, as soon as he confessed. "Okay, let's go. Gallows." Now some of you might not believe in the death penalty. I do. And, but anyway, I was really, really happy. And I got a commendation for that. And that was probably one of my, one of my proudest days, knowing that we had solved that case and avenged that poor gal. So anyway, hope you enjoyed that story. And I've got a few more that I plan on doing. Maybe a bunch more. It just depends on if you guys like it or not. If you guys like it, I'll do more. If you guys are kind of like, then I won't. I'm not going to do it just to get out here and flap my gums. But anyway, hope you enjoyed that, and we'll catch you the next time I make a video.